Grosbeaks are backyard favorites with their beautiful colors, warbling robin-like songs, and funny eating habits, earning them the name Grospigs among some birdwatchers. They're also prized for their insect-eating abilities, eating millions throughout their lives. In this video, I'll talk about the 7 grosbeaks that regularly occur in the United States. In the next video, I'll talk about 3 tips to track all of them with species-specific tips. 7 grosbeaks can be regularly found in the US, but only 5 are easily found in large ranges. The blue grosbeak is probably one of the most iconic pictures of a grosbeak, at least in the eastern US. It can only be confused with a much smaller but still beautiful indigo bunting, but in males the larger size, wide chestnut wing bars, darker and more evenly blue coloration, and heavy bill tell it apart. In the brownish females and juveniles, distinguishing features include a large size and bill and brighter brown wing bars. All individuals have a habit of twitching and spreading their tails while perched. The blue grosbeak breeds for most of the southern US in very specific habitat: shrubby fields and open areas with few tree species, little canopy cover, low shrub density, water-filled depressions, and other water sources. It breeds low in trees, shrubs, and vine tangles, building a nest out of a variety of materials, particularly liking snakeskin as a finishing touch. They avoid suburban areas for breeding and are heavily parasitized by cowbirds. Major foods are insects and a variety of seeds. The rose-breasted grosbeak is the woodland version of the blue grosbeak, but breeds in the northern US and Canada. It eats a variety of seeds, fruits, and insects, heavily relying on berry-producing plants during fall migration. They nest near forest edges in young trees, making a flimsy nest out of natural materials. Only females can be confused with the nearly identical females of the black-headed grosbeak, but have more extensive streaking on the underparts. Juveniles also look like females, but have a reddish wash on the breast and red in the underwings. The black-headed grosbeak is the western relative of the rose-breasted, commonly found in open woodlands and forest edges. Males are unique with black head, wings, and tail, and bright burnt orange underparts. Females are overall buffier below and less streaked than similar rose-breasted. They eat mostly insects with supplements of berries and seeds, particularly liking eating monarchs, as their toxins seem to have no effect on them. Nests in most of the western US, building a loosely constructed nest in a waterfront deciduous tree or shrub. The evening grosbeak is a flocking, non-territorial, eruptive Canadian bird that can only be found in the western mountains and Canada's mature and second-growth coniferous forests year-round. It cannot be confused with any other bird with a big pale yellow or white bill, prominent inner wing patch, yellow forehead, white eyebrow on adult male, dark brown, and yellow body. The female is grayish-tan with a thin dark mallow stripe and white-tipped tail. Breeds in mixed woods in the west, mainly in the mountains, building a flimsy saucer-shaped nest high in various coniferous trees. In winter, it moves eruptively in flocks into other wooded areas where it visits feeders. Diet is composed mostly of various seeds from seeding trees, but contains a high percentage of common insects like spruce budworms in the summer, and is supplemented throughout the year by buds and berries. The past 2 decades have seen an overall decline in this bird, a total of 73%, most prominently in the east. The pine grosbeak, another eruptive grosbeak, is also a year-round resident in the West Rocky Mountains, but is a regular winter visitor in most of the northern US. It is a large and plump bird with a long tail, dark stubby bill, and 2 white wing bars that are sometimes tinged with pink in adult males. Male's gray plumage is tipped with red on the head, back, and underparts, but is brighter colored in fall after molt. Females and juveniles are overall gray, with a variable amount of yellowish, reddish, and russet coloring on the head, neck, rump, and underparts. Nearly 100% of their diet is made up of buds, seeds, and fruits from various coniferous and perennial plants common in the north, but they need insects to feed their young. They nest relatively low to the ground, building a loose foundation of evergreen twigs into which to weave in other materials. Commonly visits feeders in the northern US, feeding and foraging sluggishly, and rarely flying farther south. The yellow grosbeak is an almost Mexican endemic, which in summer annually shows up at feeders in certain areas of Arizona. It occurs in a variety of habitats, from highlands and tropical forest edges to foothills and forest edges. Male is yellow overall with black wings, distinctive white markings, and a stout bill. Female looks like the flame-colored tanager, but note a large bill and white, not yellow vent. Can occur outside of Arizona, but most sightings are of birds with deformed bills. Most common subspecies in the U.S. is the overall yellow-colored northern. The red-colored grosbeak is an extremely small-ranging bird, almost occurring entirely in northeastern Mexico, but rather regularly appearing in South Texas during the winter. Males are striking and unmistakable, with a black hood, wings and tail, and overall bright red body. Females and juveniles are similar, except females have greenish-gray instead of red, and juveniles look like females with less of the black hood. Like the yellow grosbeak, usually found singly or in pairs, feeding silently at all levels and fruiting shrubs and bushes. Frequently appears at feeders. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2 of top 3 tips to attract grosbeaks, which I will release soon. Please subscribe, share, and like.